too, Glenn.
Yes, it is. Back in Golf Talk Radio with Mike and Billy.
That's clean, man. You sounding good, Mike.
I worked hard on that.
That's your new guitar?
Yeah. Little wah-wah pedal, little pedal effects. That, kind of gives it that kind of clean,
That's
crisp
your kid crying
sound.
in the background?
No, that's my dog.
That's your dog.
That's the boxer. Golf Talk Radio brought to you by Sundale Country Club, home of the Bakersfield City Championship for over 30 years. Give them a call at 661-831-5224, SundaleCountryClub.com.
Well, welcome back, Doc.
Thank you very much.
We're really glad you're here. I always look forward to your analogies and your education and your opinions and your thoughts and your criticisms. It's always one of my favorite things ever. And I leave here with my self-esteem just, crushed.
Stop.
But I'm better now. I'm happier. So, can injuries predict weather? Can a trick knee really predict weather?
Okay, so you guys created a lot of fun conversation last night with my wife because she likes to nerd out on this stuff.
Were you talking to his wife last night, Mike?
No.
No.
I was talking.
We were talking.
We were texting back and forth.
You and your wife are talking about it?
No,
so-
it's just right.
So my answer to you on this is the research, just pure research, isn't very clear on it. So there's a lot of different studies out there that they don't know for sure why that this happens. And so my answer to you is scientifically, they can't prove it, but people do talk about it all the time. So clinically speaking, you do see it. One thing that I did find on PubMed, because that's the best place to go to look at your research.
We used to hang out at that pub. Remember that? That was awesome.
PubMed, yeah.
The PUB?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Med.
That's
Remember that?
That's where all
We
the
haven't been there
research is.
forever.
That's
man.
where you can get all kinds of shots.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, some things don't always transfer over when we were looking at the research with laboratory rats, but they actually found that barometric pressure does activate a part of your brain, the brainstem in rats, indicating that there is probably something to the barometric pressure changing and having an impact on how we feel joint pain and those type of things.
Well, let me add to that. Very well said, sir. It has been proven, not just hypothetically, that the barometric pressure is a change in pressure or the weight of the air. That's
Right.
That's
Right.
what barometric
Correct.
pressure is. And it can trigger joint pain because of the pressure, or headaches, like you said, but it can trigger because of the weight of the air. It can if you have a sensitive joint issue, it can trigger joint pain, whether that's in the brain or if it's actually, because everything's in the brain, right? Then you say that one time we were here?
The brain would have to be the one activated. So is it the kidneys that result in that? What does your research say?
Doesn't say anything about a kidney here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so-
How does that tie
Hey, can I get a
in?
draft beer and a shot of penicillin? That'd be great, man. Tufts University found that every
Yes.
10 degrees drop in temperature corresponds with arthritis pain.
Oh, that's not fair. That was on the first page when you Googled that.
That's all but I think I'm going in deeper pain. What do you mean it's not fair? I would think that's the most fair thing you can do.
I saw that one too.
Well, why didn't you bring that up?
So I should preface this whole conversation by yesterday. Yesterday when I'm at Pastor Robles Golf Club. Okay, so the weather's getting ready to change, right? We're kind of they're like, big storms coming in, big storms coming in. Friday morning comes, there's no rain yet, right? And they keep kind of pushing it off. So David Bundy comes in from Paso Golf Club, and he
Bunyan?
Bundy.
Oh, Bundy.
Bundy. We're going to have him on the show here sometime soon. And he goes, I go, David, he's from the UK. And I go, you gonna play today? Yeah, you know what? My knee feels really good. I don't think it's going to rain for a while. And I start, and he's serious. He's been
Well, I
battling.
told you what
he's
I
been
was feeling
battling
yesterday.
yeah.
I won't say it now, but I told you you're going to storm. Didn't I tell you what my pain was?
Yeah, but this is at like 9 a.m.
Yeah.
So they're teeing off at like 10:30.
He knew it was going to be later.
And he knew it was going to be later. So then I started thinking, wouldn't it be interesting?
weather
Like,
app.
yeah, this like by the could someone actually judge the severity of a storm by how much pain
Because prediction,
they have in their knee?
Prediction and actually feeling at the time are two different things. Right, if you're not feeling anything, but I'm predicting in 10 hours from now there's going to be a storm because they're not feeling the barometric pressure change.
That's a good point, and why that is a good point. I didn't I didn't bring that.
That was 4th page down in Google. I was looking at. I just want you to know.
Well, it's funny because I saw that Tufts one that you were talking about, and then I went to PubMed and was looking around there too. And there was one that they found that people complained about these things when they knew what the weather was going to be. They would search on the internet to find out what the most common musculoskeletal issues are with a particular type of weather, and then they were trying.
So that could be a placebo effect.
Correct. So I think there's definitely something to it.
But they've been doing this years ago before computers and Google. People would come in. Remember, it's only, oh, my knee, man, it's going to rain later. And this was back in the 80s and stuff. I was hearing about this stuff. So they're not Googling or anything ahead of time.
No, and this was like
well, that's what I'm saying.
This is like the mid 90s. I separated my shoulder. I had a grade 2 separation.
Was it a thunderstorm?
No, it was not. Okay. It was on a very clear day playing football.
So every time your shoulder hurts, it's clear.
And no, when the shoulder would hurt, that's when the weather would change. It didn't mean necessarily it was going to rain. Exactly. So I would wake up and it was almost like somebody was pushing.
Isn't that what's happening? There's air pushing down on you.
Well, I mean, there's definitely a physiological change for sure.
Yeah, it doesn't happen anymore though. And I don't know if that's because now the scar tissue
is because he's been coming in and he's healthier now.
Well, that's true.
You hooked him up, man.
I'm seeing Dr. Ryan. He's helping me out.
There you go.
Everything's connected.
Well, and that's why I bring it up. It's like there was that tough study.
It's a circle. It's a circle.
So there's one study. You just can't go off one study, right? So you look at all of it, and then you got to take what research that we have, and then you apply it clinically. And like I said, based on the research and based on what I see, I would go with what I hear and what people say. I mean, you got to see what you see.
Well, isn't that how most conclusions come from? Is what the results are from what people are,
Well, there's a lot.
If you study things, you give a rats a whole bunch of this stuff, and how they react is how you get a conclusion. Well, not that Mike's a rat or anything. That's not what I meant.
I think that there's a lot of times you can take bench science. You take bench science and then try to bring it into and apply it clinically, and it doesn't always match. It might actually be happening on the bench, but when you actually try to apply it, it doesn't always.
But what do you mean apply it versus, let's say this guy he says he really feels a change in his knee.
Okay.
And so how do you know he's not feeling that? And how do you know if it's a placebo effect? How do you know?
Well, and here's
scientifically.
Well, here's the sad part.
Because you can't tell from this. There's no brain.
If you don't really know, Dave's making a decision not to play golf because he hurts.
Yeah.
But the reality is he's not hurting any worse than he really was, right?
Well, he could be if the barometric changes.
Well, he is, but it's not like the injury's any worse.
Correct.
Well, the injury's the same.
That's what I'm saying. Like sometimes I think people.
Well, that's how you define injury.
Well, no, but if it hurts more,
it's
they might go, "Oh, I tweaked my knee the other day." But what if it's really barometric pressure?
Well, and what's interesting about that, pain's an emotion, so you register that in the brain,
pain's
right?
An emotion. So album title. Oh,
so everyone reacts differently, right?
Pains and emotions. You can use that hop.
Yeah. So everyone reacts.
Write that
differently.
down, man. Yeah, well, exactly. So there's no right or wrong, really, which is on the 7th page of Google that I looked down, is that but it's very interesting because Tufts, what you saw, they say that temperatures and precipitation can increase pain, not may or not could. They use the word can. So to me, that's a pretty positive conclusion, or other hypotheses here, is that it can. So they're concluding.
Yeah.
So and I just cut and paste, obviously. So it's interesting because I'm in pain all the time. So the weather's weird. So I've heard it for years.
Yeah, but do you
and I bet there's a lot of golfers out there that say they could tell that if there's a weather change or a barometric change. I bet you they can tell. My father used to say that he was a pilot, so I think he was very aware of the different. You have to know the barometric numbers and stuff. But he always said, there's a storm coming.
But Bill? You could be, you say you're constantly in pain, but the pains are just in different levels based on the barometric pressure. So like you, because you've had a lot of...
temperature.
And you've had surgeries recently, so you probably feel a lot of different things, even if the weather was to stay stable. Let's say it stays stable and the barometric pressure stays stable for 3 days, if that's even possible. It just holds right there. Then there's nothing. But all of a sudden, there's a front moving in, like yesterday, which is a very strong front. I mean, it's heavy rain, it's heavy wind, and all of a sudden you can't walk because your knee's hurting so bad. I just find that fascinating to me. Like, there's got to be some true correlation.
Ready?
Yeah.
What about this? What happens if when we deep sea dive, right?
Yeah.
we react to
speak for yourself.
Barometric changes are changing,
Oh,
right?
yeah, you
because
feel
of pressure.
Absolutely.
Pressure in your
So
ears.
why
and
couldn't
stuff.
we see it at this some degree when we're on land?
Well, I think you can.
I agree.
Yeah. I think
Feel
so
it.
too.
So I think that maybe we need
So-
more research.
So
to
if
back
someone
this
goes
up.
down and get more pressure from the water, which does their knees start going nuts?
Ooh, that's a
Do you
good
know what I
question.
mean? I
Yeah.
mean,
Your
'cause there's
ears
this-
do.
Well, yeah, and if you don't
ears
balance
hurt.
yourself
Right.
up, man, so in oxygen, the pressure on your lungs, of course, is huge. So you've got to adjust to that. But if this guy's trick knee is bad when there's a storm approaching, what's it like at 30 feet underwater?
Exactly. What's the deepest you ever been under the water?
6 feet. No, I think it was a 9-foot pool once I drove down.
I went 60
Oh, that's
in
nuts.
Hawaii.
Wow.
Snorkeling. 60 feet?
60 feet
It-
snorkeling.
Dude,
They called it.
They call it drowning.
Not scuba, snuba. I think it was snuba. So you have it's the old school with the air hose.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
and
you
go-
had air.
and you go down.
You had air, though.
Yeah, but it was
You were breathing down at 60 feet. You weren't holding your breath, went down there.
no, but the pressure.
Well, the pressure, of course, but
yeah,
you were breathing.
It was very cool.
Well, that's
very
a lot of
weird.
pressure.
Because you feel like you're
Under
you
pressure.
feel like you're in the middle of nowhere. There's nobody around. There was only I think I was the only one down there.
I bet.
That's
It was cool.
That is
Yeah,
really
exactly.
Pressure.
Nice.
And I
nice.
bet your visibility was probably pretty amazing.
Dark.
in
It was
Hawaii.
amazing.
In
The
Hawaii?
visibility was
Oh.
amazing.
Yeah.
But you look off into the abyss and it just kind of
You were down there alone,
yeah.
and I'd freak out.
Why?
I did scuba lesson in a swimming pool, right?
Yeah.
I had some friends that were scubas, and they came to help clean the pool. So I hooked on the gear and stuff.
Yeah.
I was 2 feet underwater. I'm gonna die! I couldn't understand how you could breathe underwater, man. I'm hyperventilating. It was weird. I could stand up.
And you're freaking because you had no buttons to push.
I had no buttons to push. And
Yeah.
yeah, because don't touch that thing. That's your regulator. Man, I want to touch that thing. But it's interesting. So that is barometric pressure,
Kind of like
or
a
is
catheter.
that is the weight, right? That's the gravity change. And what
So-
about pulling 6 G's in a plane or a fighter plane?
That has to be.
Does that mess with the
different.
guy's trick knee?
I don't know. Now you're going.
Well, you're the doc, man. I'm trying to find some good stuff. I see you over there Googling again. What page you on?
I'm finding your tough study. I want to see how many. It was study included 200 participants.
Yeah.
And it was osteoarthritis.
If there's
It
barometric,
says it right here, arthritis pain.
Yeah. So no, that's interesting. You want to know something else that's kind of cool?
Tell me.
They've done multiple studies on cleaning up meniscus tears and those type of things, and they find that sometimes it causes more arthritis. So they started looking at doing. They did it with a sham where they went in to look at the knee. They had people where they just made the incision.
Yeah,
and
Mike
then-
was telling me about
Yeah,
this whole.
yeah, and they over 100 participants,
It was-
and the placebo was just as good as the people that had the surgery, right?
Part of your education on him is one of the reasons I made my decision not to have my surgery.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, so one of the
But
many
is that-
reasons,
is
but that was one of them.
Do they think the placebo group in that thing when they were going to go in and work on their knees is a power of the mind?
Yes, that's what they're saying.
That's
how
what-
powerful
yeah,
the mind
that's
is.
the placebo
That's
thing.
awesome, man.
It is
that
awesome.
the meniscus?
But again, it's a few studies, right? Yes, that is the
But think of the
meniscus.
power of the mind there. Like if you could take that power when you go play golf, how many people come and do golf lessons with us and they're like, I don't have this shot.
Yeah, right.
And if you could flip the power of your mind,
Yes, you do.
Well, I mean,
That'll be $80.
yeah.
you know that they've done studies where runners, and they'll have them run the race in their head, and they'll fire the same brain in the same way they would if they actually ran it. There's a lot to that, like working with your guys, you guys coach.
So have you ever considered those 2 punch holes that fix the knee?
well, if that was the case,
Because there was
So
there
this-
was some kind of a procedure on the knee, which is what triggered the brain, which would trigger the. So I
Right,
get it.
right.
Because if they just saw a Band-Aid and nothing there, they're going to say,
Yeah,
honey.
yeah.
But so they punch the holes like they would,
exactly.
right?
It's
No,
crazy, and these are like Cochrane review. These are very well and really well respected people that looked at the research and some of the journals
Yeah.
that it was in. It's just fascinating.
Well, you sharing that information with Mike, and as you're sharing right now with all of us, was part of my weighing my decision because I went to pre-op. I was actually going in for my chest X-ray and stuff 2 days before the surgery, right when I decided to cancel. So
Wow.
I was all in, and I went to, but my pain had diminished,
Right.
and they were explaining to me that when it flaps like that's your pain when it goes back, like
Right.
you
Yeah.
explained. But I said, why am I getting a surgery when I'm really not hurting right now?
Right.
And he says, well, 99% of people do that postpone come back. And I'm like, okay, well, at least you welcome me back when that happens. I'll be glad to come back. Right. But then I knew about what you told Mike.
Yeah.
And then my wife is great because she researches everything and way in depth. She goes more than just the first page of Google. way in depth. So, there's people who had surgery that made it worse. There was people that it didn't make a difference. They tried to shave it and it got worse. They had it fit. There was all kinds of horror stories, but then there's the success stories too, man.
Absolutely. And that's, sorry, Mike.
No, I'm Billy. That's okay. But I'm trying to thank you for one. And so when I mentioned what Mike said that you said, Josie said, "Oh yeah, I read a bunch about that too." So there's 3 of you now that said the same thing, and I just looked at him. I said, I just didn't need another surgery at this point. By the way, my knee's great. I'm not even wearing my brace today.
That's awesome.
So I do wear it when I work, so it reminds me not to spin. So. And I do believe him that it will hurt again because it's torn. I saw, first I'm looking at a blob on a screen going, look, see the tear here, this or it is. I'm like, yeah, whatever. It looks like an ink blot. I don't.
Right.
So how would I know? But I believe him, obviously. I don't think he's lying. He shows me the tear. But then we read that people my age, a lot of people my age and older, all of people have tears for the wears and tears over the year, many. Yeah. And then they just live with it. But my profession, there's a lot of knee work. I get to that knee. There's a lot of weight on that knee. I drive from that knee. I twist.
You walk on your knees, too.
I do a lot of. Actually, I can't. Never could. It hurts.
Really?
Yeah. I crushed this knee once when it got water on the knee. I was trying to do a gymnastic thing and instead of the mat, I hit the gym floor. Crack. Good old
off the horse?
Yeah, off the little mini tramp thing.
Oh, geez.
Try to do a brawny or whatever. But anyways, it was interesting what I've learned, but I'm so glad now. I mean, why do I need to deal with this? And I've heard the recovery, this could be, it'll be a day you're up and rocking, this. Then I've heard people 2, 3, 4 weeks later are still struggling. So I'm so glad. And now, which we can talk about if we come back from break, is I'm thinking of PRP. If it ever comes up again, I don't think I'll ever get surgery. I told my wife last night. Unless... there was a point 2 months ago that I would have done anything because I couldn't walk.
I have some information on that.
Cool. I'd like to know more about it.
So let's take our break
because I need a PRP myself.
Yes. So. Okay. Sounds good. Golf Talk Radio with Mike and Billy. Be right back. Brought to you by McGaughey Health Group. Check out McGaughey Health Group. Change your life for the better and for the future. HealthySlowCounty.com. HealthySlowCounty.com. McGaughey Health Group. Also sponsoring our fantasy golf through Embassy Sports. If you go to golftalkradio.com. See the picture of Justin Thomas on the homepage there. Click on it. Join our group. It's free. You'll win a sleeve of golf balls if you're the winner for the week. And you can also win prizes through golfnow.com at golftalkradio.com for 2019 fantasy golf. What?
It's going to clear soon because my neck's feeling better.
I was going to ask you about that.
I think it's going to clear within a day or 2.
Nice. Good job.
Thanks.
All right, we'll be right back. Golf Talk Radio with Mike and Billy. Stay with us.